Our culture is something we all take pride in, and often will it also influence significant parts of our life, such as what we eat, or in this case, what we listen to. Music is present in most, if not all, cultures. While I can gladly say that in this day and age we have the opportunity to experience music from all parts of the world, it is hard to deny that there is a special place in our hearts for music from our own culture. But what is Swedish music, and how does it differ from, say, Australian music? To answer that, I have chosen to investigate popular genres from both Australia and Sweden, namely metal and metalcore. While often seen as a subgenre to metal, metalcore has become an established genre since the uprising of bands like Attack Attack and Underoath, where they combined influences from hardcore punk and metal to create a mix of heavy and fast-paced music, often containing both screams, growls, as well as singing. Sweden, however, has established itself as a great country for metal fans alike, representing bands such as Arch Enemy, Meshuggah, and At the Gates. There have been studies conducted on the general happiness of a country, and how that correlates with which music is most popular. Often the result is that the happier the country, the darker and more grim the music will be, which would indicate that we use music to experience feelings that we seldom come across in real life. Considering Sweden and Australia are neighbors and in a high position on the global happiness scale, this is a plausible explanation to the rise of metal in each respective country. But our styles still have a distinct difference, and I believe this stems from two popular bands that both exploded in popularity and created a legacy for the respective genre of music as a whole, namely AC/DC from Australia and ABBA from Sweden. With only a year apart, these bands started their career around 1972 to 1973. For years to come, several bands would branch off AC/DC style and try to recreate the success that they reached. Already known for the fast guitar riffs and aggressive singing, I believe Australians became used to a faster pace and more energetic type of rock. Brian Johnson's high-pitched and distorted song also sounded similar to the popular Fry Scream in metalcore. This would all come to favor the development of metalcore music in Australia, and years later, metalcore bands such as Parkway Drive and Northlane exploded in popularity. And meanwhile in Sweden, I believe the rise in metal was to counteract the dominance that ABBA established, with ABBA pop essentially cementing itself as the typical Swedish music. Many would come to dissent to this change of style and resort to a heavier genre. My personal guess is that slower and darker metal was favored in Sweden because it represents the cold and dark environment that most of us live in. With the Vikings in mind, and as evident in the vast amount of medieval TV show soundtracks, slow and powerful instruments are often popular when representing this way of life. This is supported by the fact that Scandinavia as a whole, and Finland especially, are also overrepresented with metal, power metal and progressive metal. It is also worth noting that metalcore is significantly more popular within the younger crowd, and Sweden puts a lot more effort into musical education. Musical education is compulsory in Swedish schools, and at the age of 7, children will study simple musical aspects. Due to more focus on music within schools, I believe Swedish students will get more exposure to different genres, and with influences from neighboring countries, metal is a path that many choose to take. In Australia, however, musical education gets less focus in school, and there are no neighbors to share their music with. Due to this, Australia works almost like an echo chamber, where all genres and opinions bounce between themselves in the country, and those that establish a hold only grow larger by time. This also means that there is less exposure to and understanding of different genres of music, and genres not prevalent in Australia rarely get much attention. Australian students also graduate earlier than Swedish students, and with metalcore attracting a younger crowd, those who invest in bands after school may stay in the metalcore direction. And in conclusion, Australia and Sweden share an affection for heavier music, but there are some distinct differences between the two styles. These have come to be due to the level of education, musical history within the country, and even the environment. Australia had no neighboring countries to take influence from, while Sweden looked to the northeast for inspiration. And they had just about the opposite reaction to the rise of truly historical bands in each country. Australia embraced that, while Sweden would distance themselves from the stereotype of only producing pop.